Hello friends, welcome to Joy of Life. So we are at the sixth episode of System Design Fundamentals. So before we begin episode 6, let's go ahead and check the comments we have received from episode 5. Shivam Gupta says Happy New Year bro. So Happy New Year Shivam, and to all of you, hope you guys are having an excellent year. John Wick says great video as always, couple of points. So let's go through the point. I think NoSQL DBs are base compliant. Could you give us a brief about it? So yeah, John, it's base compliant, and this episode is about base and cap theorem. So we are going to understand both of them. I think NoSQL DB such as Mongo is ACID compliant, correct? Yeah, MongoDB starting version 4.0. So over here we are at MongoDB. So let's go ahead and verify it. So yeah, multi-document was 4.0 2018, and distributed multi-document was 4.2 in 2019. So this is a feature that is there, but it's not leveraged. As we mentioned earlier, we estimate that 80 to 90% of application that leverage the document model will not need to utilize transaction in MongoDB. There might be some scenarios wherein you might need it, but yeah, overall you are not going to need it if you are doing it the right way. At 1034, you mentioned that Redis does not support persistence. I believe it does support persistence through RDB and AOF. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, John, you are correct. It supports RDB and AOF. But what I meant over here is, let's go to the documentation. So the RDB persistence performs point in time snapshot of your database at a specified interval. So you specify the interval, let's say 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is. So it takes a snapshot every 30 minutes or every X minutes, right? So what happens to the changes that we make after the snapshot is taken? So all the changes that we make after the last snapshot is taken is completely lost, right? So that's not what we want. So this one is RDB and you have AOF. AOF is append only file. So what happens is you have a file wherein your transactions are appended. So it will go ahead and append it, and it will be replayed back, right? When your machine is down or restored back, it will be replayed back. So that's how it works, append only file, and there is no persistence. That's one we know, and we have RDB plus AOF, right? So what will happen is we will restore the snapshot. So snapshot will be restored, and what will happen is the AOF file will be played after that from the point of snapshot. But you can understand that I have a count, let's say, and this is my view count, and I am incrementing it, right? So I took a snapshot. This is my T1 seconds when I took a snapshot, and my count was say 1 million, right? And then let's say I did a count plus maybe 500k times. So my value over here is 1.5 M, right? So at this point, my server crashes, and what happened is when I restore back, the snapshot taken over here is restored, and this AOF file is played, right? 50k times in order to get this value. So this is how Redis provide persistence, and this is not what I want, right? And I am not going to call it a persistence for the DB level, right? So it's very different from the way a proper storage engine works, right? So that's why I said that yeah, it does not support persistence to that level. So these two properties we have, and we can use the combination of these two as well, but that is not good enough. So it becomes a good candidate for being a cache at this point of time. So I hope you got some context, John. KSCCH said thanks, Joy. So thanks, KSC. Can you please also take into account the number of servers needed at each service based on capacity estimation? For example, how does 1 million read per second at the API level corresponds to number of servers at caching layer, number of server at DB layer, and number of server at web and app server layer, analytics layer, etc. Definitely this is a nice question, KSC, but yeah, it all depends, and we are going to have a dedicated session. It will all depend on the kind of machine or the EC2 instances that we choose, but definitely we are going to have an episode on this. For now, we are at a very preliminary stage wherein we are discussing more of the core components. We haven't touched cache yet. There are a lot of other things to be touched as well, but definitely I will keep this point in mind, and I will definitely incorporate the comment that you said. It makes a huge sense, because at the end what matters is the performance versus the cost, right? So we are going to have detailed video on the cost analysis, and we are going to have some videos on load and performance test to benchmark how we should choose a server, what kind of infrastructure we need. We'll definitely cover them in a lot more details. So continuing with today's video. To start with today's video, the first thing that we have to understand is base, right? So let's understand what is base. BA stands for basically available. The S stands for soft state. We are going to talk in a lot more details, and the E part stands for eventual consistency, right? So let's understand what does this mean. So coming back to our drawing over here, if you remember, so this was what we did, right? We have this state over here, and we saw that when two machine went down, and without these machine as well in the place, we are able to serve data back to the customer or to the client, right? If some of the nodes fail over here, we are still good. We are still able to serve the data. It's not taking the entire system down. So basically the system is available. So that's what BA stands for, basically available, right? And the second one is the soft state. So what does the soft state mean? So soft state indicates that the system may change over time without even input. Let's understand how. This is because more or less because of the eventual consistency. So let's dig deep into this. So let's say this are my servers, right? And what happens is when a data goes to this server, so let's say when I send the data over here to this server, it stores a copy with him and also pass on a copy to him and him, right? We have seen that already, right? We are not storing in a single place in order to prevent single point of failure. So let's say this data goes over here and here. This is my data. So one copy goes over here, another copy goes to him, right? So let's say this data has a particular value, right? And every time I update the value, this change goes to these systems, right? But it might happen that this change needs some time to go, right? It might not happen instantly. It might happen that we have a network glitch over here. So maybe a value was 12 over here and here, but it was not updated here. It is still having 10. I increment, it becomes 13. This also becomes 13, but this is still at 10 because of this network failure over here, right? So down the line, at some point, this glitch or this network error is going to get fixed, right? So this is going to get repaired, and what will happen is this value will get changed to 13. So without even putting a user input, the value might change, right? If I am querying the value from here, I might be getting a 10, and after some time I might be getting a 13, right? So you can see that eventually the data is becoming consistent. So that's what the E stands for, eventually consistent. Indicates that the system will become consistent over a given period of time. It might not have the updated data instantly, but eventually it's going to have the update and it's going to have the right value. But it is eventual consistency. You are not getting the consistency that you are getting in a NoSQL, right? Where the data is ensured to be consistent, but here we have eventual consistent. So the data will be eventually consistent, not immediately. With that, we come to the interesting part over here, which is our CAP theorem. So CAP, the C stands for consistency, the important part. A stands for availability, and P stands for partition tolerance. So what do they mean? So let's start with partition tolerance. So we have to keep our data distributed in multiple servers, as we have seen over here, right? We are not keeping the data within a single machine. The data is distributed, right? We are keeping it into multiple servers. The ability for the data to tolerate this network partition is called partition tolerance. So my data the way I store it can be distributed across multiple services over here. So we can see over here in NoSQL, this is one of the important property that we don't store in a single machine. We use horizontal scaling over here, right? We don't use vertical scaling. So we are storing everything in a distributed fashion, right? So that's what partition tolerance is all about. So we should be able to partition the data and keep a chunk at different locations, right? Also, we have talked about the availability. So availability is something that I am going to send you a response no matter what. I am not going to say that I don't have your data, right? So whenever you ask me, even if few of my nodes are down, I am going to say, okay, I am still available for you. This can happen with SQL as well as NoSQL. It's not a property of SQL or NoSQL. It can be for both. And consistency, we have seen that consistency is something that we lack over here, right? We've seen over here that our data might not be consistent. So let's take some example to understand this problem in a little more details. So let's say this is the value that this machine has got. Name is Tom, view is 15. I am talking about some video or my profile views, let's say. So what will happen? This data will be passed on to him. So he will have a copy of my data. So let me put it over here. And another copy will be sent to him, right? So the moment I get a update to this data, what will happen is he is going to send this update to these guys as well. So he gets a 16 and he also gets a 16. Now just imagine a scenario that this servers could be in completely different location as well, right? What if this is in US, this is in EU, and Asia Pacific? It might happen, right? And we want our data to be in this way, right? So that when you access this data from the Asia, I don't have to go all the way to US or Europe to get it, right? To have a low latency and to have a good availability, I will be serving the data from the nearest center, right? So now it might happen that you get a 17 over here, but there is some glitch in this path over here. Some network error is present over here. It might happen, it's a network, and the error is something that you can't control. It can happen anytime, right? So this value over here is updated, but this value is still at 16. This value keep on getting new updates from the client, but you can understand that this value is not changing. So we can see that this client over here, he is still getting the data. He is still available. The service is available to him, but we are lacking the consistency over here. This network error over here has stopped this guy from getting the new update. So maybe once this network error is resolved, he will be sending the data to him. Okay, now my value is 18. You take the updated value from me. So this is how eventual consistency works, right? So eventually it will be consistent. It might not be consistent immediately. So these are the three things that we are talking about over here, right? And we are talking in terms of SQL and we are talking about NoSQL. So let's put it in a tabular fashion so that we can have it right in front of our eyes. So one thing we have seen that partition tolerance is something NoSQL is good at. So I'm going to put a tick over here, but SQL mostly it is not going to be partition tolerant. So we are going to put a cross over here. So SQL is not by default partition tolerant, right? So going by the traditional definition for SQL, we cannot partition the data in a way we can do for a NoSQL guy over here. But one thing we have seen is that both are pretty much available, right? If you're talking about a Oracle or a Microsoft SQL server, the availability is really high, right? And we have seen that the SQL over here is pretty consistent because of its ACID properties, right? So at a given point, it's always going to be consistent. But for a NoSQL, do I have consistency or do I not? So is it okay to put a cross over here? You might say that, yeah, we can put a cross because we have seen the property of eventually consistent, right? So we have something like this, right? Consistency, availability, partition tolerance. We have seen that SQL has consistency and availability. So pretty much SQL takes this spot over here. And now we have these three spots remaining, right? Do we have anything that can be partition tolerant but has a good availability? Definitely. We can say that we can give this spot to NoSQL. So over here, I can say that NoSQL gets this spot over here, right? Now, what about this spot 2? What can we do with this spot 2 over here? So here we have consistency and partition tolerance, two things. So once again, let's come over here to understand that let's say I have an update of 19, right? And this update takes some time to happen. It does not happen instantly, right? It takes 2 milliseconds to send to EU. It takes another 3 milliseconds to send to Asia, right? So we can tell through a config that update all the values to 19 and then only tell me that you are done with the operation, right? Only when all the values are 19 we can say that we have completed the task, right? So in this case what will happen is we can understand that we are going to take some time because it's eventually consistent, right? But this is going to wait. So if you send a request over here, right, and ask for the node whose name is Tom, it's not going to send until this operation is complete. So what will happen? It is no more available, right? It's no more available. Let's say this network fails over here, so the availability goes for a toss. In that case, what we'll do is we'll say that the system is not available. So though it is a eventually consistent model, but we can still enforce that, okay, I am not going to serve stale data, right? In some situation, consistency matters more to me than availability, right? We are going to see some example soon, but we can configure NoSQL and we can get this done, right? So you can see over here in this diagram, you have Mongo, HBase and Redis who are consistent and partition tolerant. And we have Couchbase, Cassandra, Dynamo, React who are available and partition tolerant. And here is our RDBMS, which is consistent as well as available, right? So you must be thinking, what about this guy over here? So this is a no man's land. You cannot have anything over here. The moment you choose partition tolerance, you have to choose between consistency and availability, right? We have seen it over here, right? The moment we went for consistency, we wanted to make the data consistent, we saw that our availability went for a toss. I cannot guarantee that. There will be some time taken when you want to update servers over the network. So these are all my networks, right? These are all happening over networks. And if the network fails, I cannot say that I can be consistent. I can be available, but I cannot say that I can be consistent. And if I have to be consistent, then my availability goes for a toss, right? Either of the one can happen. So when we are choosing availability, we have to understand that at a point T1, this guy and this guy is getting two separate values for the same data, right? So either we can be available or we can be consistent. So T1 can either fetch me this value or this value. It is not required that it has to be in US and EU and AP to fail. It can happen anywhere, right? It's a network. It can fail anywhere, right? There could be several faults that can take down. So once again, going back over here, so this is a no man's land and you can't have anything at this spot over here. So this is a big cross and you cannot have anything over here. And definitely NoSQL, other kinds of NoSQL can fit in these spaces. The moment we have partition tolerance, we have to choose between availability or consistency. We cannot have both, right? So I hope you got the difference between the two, and this is what the CAP theorem is all about. So consistency, availability and partition tolerance, you can only choose two things. and you have to take your call. And you can understand that it is somewhat related to the base property that the NoSQL database is built upon, right? The data will be eventually consistent. It might not be consistent immediately, but yeah, we'll be available all the time and the state will change, right? So with that, let's take some example to understand when to choose consistency versus when to choose availability. So let's take some use cases over here. Number one, comments on YouTube video. Once again, let's say I have this database servers over here, right? And there are 5 comments in my video, and you have added one more comment, and this comment has updated over here. So we have 6 comment over here. This was having 6 comment over here, and this also had a 6 comment with the new comment coming in. And when it tried to put over here, let's say we are having 4 replicas, and this one failed, so this one is still standing at 5. So there is a comment that missing, right? So Mr. X who's querying over here, Mr. Y who's querying over here, and Mr. Z who's querying over here, he's seeing 5 comment, he's seeing 6 comment, he's seeing 6 comment, he's seeing 5 comment, and this guy is seeing again 6 comment. So should I show 5 comments to him, or should I tell him that okay, the system is not available, come back after some time? It doesn't make sense, right? It's just a comment, it's a trivial thing, right? I don't need to bother about. So he will see the 6th comment maybe after 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever it is, right? It's not the end of the world for him, right? So in a situation wherein the data doesn't matter to me that much, if being eventually consistent is not hurting me, I am fine with that. What I can do is, in these cases, I can choose availability over consistency. So now coming to the next example over here, my Amazon Pay wallet balance. So again, I have say $100, and I have certain nodes like this the same way, and the value is stored over here. So it is stored in 3 places, let's say, and I made a transaction worth say $15. So it is deducted from here, and it's showing me that I have 85. So this is updated to $85, but this update has failed. So what if next time I want to purchase something, my request goes over here and I am trying to purchase something worth $90? It can happen, right? It can happen, right? So in these cases wherein we have some data which is really important, in those cases I will be choosing consistency over availability. Here the consistency matters to me. Just think of another example. So let me put down another example over here. So let's say I am going to book a flight, right? I am going to book a flight over here, an Indigo flight for 7 Jan 2022. And let's say I have a server over here where it's showing 100 seats is available for this flight. So this information may be stored in 3 of the systems. So total 100 seats are available, right? So this flight information is stored in these 3 machines. So somebody booked 10 seats and it changed to 90. Again, these are all updated, right? Somebody else again came here and booked say another 50 tickets. So now we have only 40 seats left. So this is updated to 40, and somehow this update didn't happen. It still shows 90. Now if somebody comes over here and books say 80 tickets, seeing that 90 tickets is available, so what will happen? We have only 40 tickets and we have issued 80 tickets. We can't do this, right? So in these kind of scenarios, we want consistency to be in place. We have to take the right call in order to understand where we need consistency over availability. Another could be likes on your Facebook post. So let's say this is your post ID is say 1001, it has 10 likes, and we have this replicas over here, and the data is stored over here. You have 10, you have 10, you have 10. So somebody came and did a +1 like changed to 11, it got changed to 11, but this is a 10. So when I seeing your post using this, it's showing me 10 likes, but that's okay, right? I'm not going to get impacted by this, right? Only one like or count missing here and there is not impacting me, right? So these kind of scenarios over here, I will go for availability. It is important for you to get this other 10 likes and to see who all has liked, right? But in some of the scenarios, we are going to choose consistency, where we are having some important data to deal with, right? So in the next episode, what we are going to do is we are going to understand how this availability and consistency really works in some of the databases like say Cassandra, how we leverage consistent hashing in order to get things done. So in the next video, we are going to talk about it. So if you remember in the last episode as well, we have kept an open question that how do we add this new machine, right? So this is all part of this consistent hashing that we are going to discuss in the next video. So do check on the next video and do let me know what do you think about this video that we have discussed over here. So once again, thanks a lot for all the love and support for the channel. Do let me know if you have any doubts, question, or do let me know what do you feel about the video. It's always good to hear back from you guys, and that's the only motivation I have. So do let me know about it. And yeah, that's all from this video. Bye bye and take care. See you soon again. Bye bye.